And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, we'll discuss a groundbreaking cultural event connecting the vibrant spirit of Caribbean cinema with the dynamic pulse of New York City. After that, we'll dive into an extraordinary story, challenging assumptions and redefining what it means to break barriers. Then, we'll sit down with the guests discussing the history of New York International Auto Show, its standout features this year, and the lasting impact it has had on the automotive industry, and certainly you don't want to miss that. And then lastly, we'll learn about a drug-free treatment option for people who are dealing with chronic migraines. So stay tuned, because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren, Jaime. You're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on Eminence channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off with community news. Diabetes is a growing health concern nationwide, but here in the Bronx, the impact especially profound. Recent reports show the Bronx has the highest rate of diagnosed diabetes among New York City's 5 boroughs, with 12% of adults affected, which is significantly higher than the city's average of 10.5%. Now, in response to this alarming statistics, the New York City Diabetes Committee recently organized the Wellness Fair, hoping to raise awareness about diabetes. Our BronxNet reporter, Nova Bajamonti, has a story.
The New York City Diabetes Committee, along with Velasquez Consulting, plans to host its Diabetes Wellness Fair several times a year. The recent event invited the community to get complimentary screenings and to gain awareness about the disease.
I'm very excited to have all of these organizations here today to share their information with their services and programs to the community that's very much in need, the Bronx.
Well, it's our third year participating at the Diabetes Festival. I think it's a great awareness and educational event, and Emblem Health is very happy to be here, bringing always like screenings and information sessions. Last year we did podiatrists. This year we are doing retinopathy. So we always bring a doctor to talk about really important issues, health issues for diabetic people, and also bringing awareness to the younger population. So we don't have more, we can fight against this horrible disease.
Diabetes is really important to diagnose and treat. For women's health in particular, PCOS and gestational diabetes is really important in the older population. Type 2 diabetes, it affects cardiology patients, it affects podiatry patients. And like I said, we have 26 specialties at Essen, and diabetes goes across all of those specialties.
The informative event provided locals with vital information regarding diabetes prevention and symptoms that they could share with loved ones.
I think the main point with my presentation is to tell people how diabetes affects your vision, your eye health, and, because vision is such a crucial part of your daily life, your lifestyle. And I think a lot of people don't realize that the longer that you have diabetes, the more likely you are to get complications in the eye, and, to get your eyes checked every year, because the sooner we can detect any problems, the sooner we can get you on track for better prognosis.
About awareness of diabetes. My son is 9 years old and he's pre-diabetic, and I would like to get all the information I can use to help him, within my family too, because you never know who has it, and if I didn't go get my son checked, I would have never known.
The Diabetes Wellness Fair brought the Bronx community a day of helpful and resourceful information to help prevent diabetes and handle it. Reporting for BronxNet, I'm Nova.
And thank you, Nova. In other news, New Settlements held a panel to inform the Bronxites about the New York State budget, and more particularly, how it will be used to help the aid of communities right here in the borough. Our BronxNet reporter, William Longo, brings us the story.
New Settlements hosts a panel with Assemblymember Landon Days, State Senator Luis R. Sepulveda, and the Homeland Security Commissioner to inform the Bronx community about New York State's budget and its impact on local aid.
In this community, we're looking for several things that are very important: housing, education, and health, public protection.
Assemblymember Landon Days highlights the need for support within the youth of the Bronx, as well as the need for the community to work together to help improve life here in the Bronx.
Especially these young kids. Those answers they gave about the cell phone ban and their concerns about it was brilliant. And now they want to work with me and try to figure out a solution. That's what we need, solution-oriented ideas.
Community members share his sentiments, emphasizing the need for spaces for the youth of the Bronx to engage with their community and want to see part of the money received from the state go towards more support for the children and young people in their community.
For our youth to do things like you talking about programs, bring the programs inside the armory. We should not have to go out of our neighborhood for any services. These services should be accessed in our neighborhood.
With many issues being brought forth to the Assemblymember, State Senator, and Homeland Security Commissioner, it is essential for panels such as this one for residents of the Bronx to come together and have their voices heard. The community must grow and improve together, and the problems addressed here today are only the beginning. Reporting for BronxNet, William Longo.
And thank you, William. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We'll have more open when we return.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet Community Media Classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
And welcome back. The African Diaspora International Film Festival is set to showcase a vibrant selection of Caribbean cinema, offering a glimpse into the region's rich cultural heritage and powerful stories resonating with diverse audiences. The series brings together films highlighting contemporary Caribbean life, as well as history and some pressing social issues. Joining me now to tell us more is the Outreach and Marketing Specialist at the African Diaspora International Film Festival. We've got Nina Hay, and then we're also pleased to be joined by storyteller and filmmaker Chapman. And thank you both for joining us.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. And so I just want to get a little bit into Village Keeper for a moment, and I'll come and talk a little bit about the film festival in more totality. But there is this sense of cultural identity, community identity in Village Keeper. For somebody who may not be so familiar, take us inside.
Sure. So, Village Keeper is about an everyday mom who is not having a good time. She is overwhelmed, overworked, overtired, and she's the last one to know. And so she's running on empty. And we meet her at a time when she has to decide what she's going to do about that. And we watch Jean take this beautiful transformation.
As we talk about Village Keeper, this is one of many, and I want to get the opportunity, Nina, for you to share a little bit about the film festival and really the goal of allowing the community to become a little bit closer to filmmakers, and then also some very important stories.
Of course. So the Caribbean Film Series really offers the audiences the chance to experience powerful, thought-provoking screenings from films all over the Caribbean. We have films from the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Curacao, Antigua, and each film has deals with a special topic. We have really interesting topics such as revolution and reconciliation, diving into themes of colonialism, resistance, and legacy. We have themes of land displacement and the politics of place. But then we also have themes such as films like Village Keeper, where we talk about generations and families and ties that bond us together, and as well as celebrating new island voices and Caribbean filmmakers as well.
Yeah. And Karen, I want to talk for a second about grief and resilience. We talk about different themes, but grief and resilience is one of those things that kind of bleed through your film. Why did you feel like grief and resilience was important to take a look at?
I think there are things that we don't talk about in our community, like mental health and like what it feels like to have a not a bad day, but a hard time, right? And grief is this ever present factor in our lives that unless we're given the tools to navigate things properly, we could get stuck. And I just wanted to have more resources for people who look like me, and in particular around grief, around domestic violence, around violence against women. We really wanted to create some type of resource, some type of mirror that women could see themselves in.
Yeah. I also want viewers to know that, your film takes place in Toronto's Lawrence Heights, a special place. And talk to me a little bit about Toronto, New York, and also the Caribbean.
Sure. So I think what is pressing in this film is community. A lot of the times we live lives, especially as immigrants, as people who are constantly trying to better ourselves and move out of our situations to get to be in better situations. But in this film, we realize that it's not always about moving. Why should we have to wait or forego having a good life until tomorrow, until we have enough money, until we've moved? And so with Village Keeper, there's an emphasis for a community to take the long way home, to enjoy what we have and not put it off until we're retired to enjoy the life that we have. And so it's like an eat, pray, love journey um, with Aki and Saltfish and roti and curry.
Nina, tell me a little bit more because I want to get some more insight. Because when we talk about the Caribbean, Caribbean filmmakers, the Caribbean diaspora, really highlighting this time around and making people more aware. Give me more on the passion and the purpose.
100%. So, our purpose is to really have films that celebrate the richness and diversity of the African diaspora experience. ADIF was founded in 1993 in Harlem. So, we've been committed to having a social understanding through the power of cinema. And we're really excited to have a few programs during our series, our current series. We have a senior program and also a student program where folks can come at a significantly reduced rate. And we're really trying to make these films very accessible to everyone in the community as well. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. And Karen, really, when you take a look at Village Keeper, we're talking about a widow's experience. And for many people, as you talked about before, talk about grief and resilience, that's really not a conversation that's talked about a lot. And then the perspective of really just being a widow. Out of that, what are you hoping that people take away from the experience of watching?
Yeah, it's a complicated story. It's a complicated story about a woman who's lost her husband, and her husband was abusive. And so when we talk about love, we talk about commitment, we talk about marriage, we don't talk about the complications that I think surround being in a relationship with someone who hurts you and what it looks like to come up on the other side. And Village Keeper is this beautiful, um, it's not a sad story, you know? Like there's so much resilience and light in this story. And I think it really emphasizes the what we carry as women, as mothers, when we walk into a room, we create a safe space, despite the fact that these characters have gone through so much, that they're holding so much. They still have so much light and resilience. And we're really proud of the film that we've made. We're really excited to share it with you.
Yeah. How long was it in the making and how long to get across the finish line?
Oh my goodness. This film started off as a documentary that was too big for me at the time, and I got angry. I kept seeing news. I kept seeing news flashes of women who were being killed by intimate partners or domestic violence, and the rates has not stopped. And I got instead of I'm a documentary filmmaker by trade, but I was so frustrated with the continuing accounts of violence against women that I picked up a pen and I wrote this story, and I wrote it in about 10 days, applied for a grant, walked away from it, and then I got the money to make the movie. And so COVID happened, which gave me an opportunity to workshop. Um, but it's been a long time in the making. We had very little money. We shot over the course of 12 days. I was pregnant. Um, and so to come up on the other side with this beautiful film that's nominated for 7 Canadian Screen Awards, including Best Picture, it's unheard of. We had a mostly all black crew. Like I'm proud, I'm shocked, and it's by the grace of God that I'm sitting here with you.
We're glad that we really are glad to have you. And Nina, I guess you're glad to have people like Kara, and not only just people like Kara, but really others who are really making a difference. And what does it feel like for you to give artists that kind of spotlight, for a DIF to be there to give that kind of spotlight?
It feels wonderful. It feels as though we're able to take a piece of the work and give it to the community for education, for access, and just really let folks know that there are people here that represent us. Especially just me, for myself, I grew up in Jamaica, Queens. My family is Jamaican, so having a film like The Village Keeper was really impactful for me, just to be a part of the distribution, being a part of the promotion, being a part of the work in that sense. So we just really want folks to come out and see it. We'll be at Teachers College April 25th to the 27th, and we really just want a whole community to join us in the screening as well. So that's our goal, that's our hope.
Yeah. Karen, take me to your neck of the woods in terms of when you have screenings and you have the opportunity for that film that you've worked so long and so hard for, that's put you through all of that and then some. When it finally reaches across the finish line, to have somebody be able to watch it and take it in, that feeling for you?
This is my first one, so I'm floored. The opportunity to actually be in audiences with audience members and share that connection, in the dark space with strangers is so transformative. And I often feel like perhaps this is what painters feel like, or sculptors or artists that have the immediacy of their art. Like, it takes me a long time to make my movie, and then to screen it in front of folks with audiences. And so it's such a gift. It's such a beautiful, beautiful gift that is transformative, that is dying right now as streamers kind of taken over everything. So I'm really appreciative of theaters, of festivals, of ArtMat, and of opportunities to kind of screen with audiences is such a beautiful and dying opportunity.
Yeah, and I know a lot of hard work has gone in there, but to be able to sit amongst people and to watch and to have that experience is great. And Nina, I know, as you say, this is what you do not just for Karen, but for a lot of people. Before we leave, tell us, Nina, again, the opportunity to participate, watch, and see Karen and others.
Of course. So we're going to be at Teachers College from April 25th to the 27th. We have wonderful films such as we have a wonderful sneak preview such as The Last Meal, Sugar Island, and Village Keeper. We also have a double bill program about Felix DeRoy, who is an important figure from Curacao, Caribbean poet, writer, and dramatist. And we have other wonderful documentaries about prominent Caribbean leaders as well, such as Walter Rodney, What They Don't Want You to Know. For more information about our schedule and lineup, please visit our website, nyadiff.org, and also our socials, Facebook, X, and Instagram at NYADIFF. Um, yeah, we really want everyone to come and attend. That would be our biggest goal as well. So we're excited. We're excited.
Well, we want to thank you both. And again, Karen, congratulations. Best wishes. Enjoy the moment and enjoy many more moments, we believe, that will come your way after putting in such great hard work. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All righty. Well, listen, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at NYADIFF, that's DIFF.org. We encourage you to don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
Welcome back. For more than a century, the New York International Auto Show served as a landmark event in the automotive world. This year, it celebrates its 125th anniversary, presenting a remarkable showcase of vintage and classic and iconic vehicles that tell the story of automotive progress right here in America. Joining us now is the executive producer, I should say executive editor of Autotrader. We've got Brian Moody, and Brian, I almost put you in the TV space and made you an executive producer, but executive editor. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I wouldn't want the responsibility. So
listen, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but you got a lot of work here too, because you got to tell us what is going on. I mean, it's a really exciting time. I know my son and I, we've always talked about this was a highlight for us. Haven't done it in a couple of years, but it's a highlight and a staple right here in New York.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been going on for more than 100 years, and they do have a nice display out front. You know how there's that big glass structure in the middle. They have a lot of older cars that kind of encompass the era of 125 years. That's a long time to have one show going. It's one of the most attended shows in North America. And on top of the old classic cars, they have lots of new cars making their debut inside the hall.
Yeah. So for 125 years, things have been going on right here. We're taking a look. You got a beautiful car behind you, but what's hot on the show this year?
Well, there's a couple things that are making their debut that are hot. One thing is we're expecting to see a new Subaru Outback very soon. Also, Kia showed off 3 new vehicles. One of them is the Nightfall version of an existing car, the EV9, but the other 2 are interesting in terms of their strategy. One is the EV4, that's an all-electric car, and that's smaller than their current EV6. But they also showed at the same time a Kia K4 hatchback, which is a gasoline-powered 190 horsepower sporty car. So you see how the 2 are working together. There's a little bit of something for everyone, and I think most automakers are going to do this going forward. A little bit of electric, a little bit of hybrid, a little bit of gas.
You brought up that conversation about EV and hybrid. That was a conversation we were just having just yesterday.
Yeah.
Many people decided to go electric, hybrid. Where do you see things from your perspective on the transition to electric from gas?
I think there's going to be a lot more hybrids in the years to come. We already see some automakers switching to that. But there's also going to be more electric cars like the Kia that I just mentioned. The thing about electric cars is that they are continuing to grow in sales year after year. However, that growth has slowed somewhat. So it's not that no one's buying electric cars. It's just that the people that are buying them are doing it at a slower rate than most automakers had hoped.
Yeah, we know what's going on as far as, we got tariffs and all kinds of other stuff being talked about. The question about consumer demand, particularly in the automotive industry, what are you seeing from your end?
Well, the tariffs are something that hasn't fully been worked out yet, because the truth is a lot of cars that we think of as import brands are actually made here in the US. For example, Kia has a big manufacturing facility in the US. And many brands that we think of as domestic make their cars in part or wholly outside the US border. So it's not quite as clear as people sometimes make it seem. Could it raise prices? It definitely could, but we're just not sure how it's all going to shake out because it's still in process.
Yeah. When I think about the auto show, I think about how it's really change the trajectory of automobile shows across America, New York being the epicenter of it. Give us some history here as to how New York really has played an important part in shaping this across America.
Well, because New York has such a diverse population, for one thing, I've been to many shows across the country, and it's the only auto show I can think of where most people arrive by taxi or Uber. I find that to be ironic. Are they looking at cars where they're going to enjoy the back seat one day? I don't know. But all their auto shows are the kind where you would drive there and then you look for a car. Because New York has such a diverse population, there's wealthy people, there's people in the middle, and there's people that are looking for a bargain. The cars reflect that. You'll see some exotics from Maserati. You'll see high-performance Audis. You'll see also inexpensive economy cars like the one that's behind me. So it really kind of encompasses a little bit of everything because the population of New York is so vast and so diverse.
And we know sustainability is a huge factor on the hearts and minds of a lot of people who are spending hard-earned money to really get that automobile. Some people say, listen, I want that, you know, my toy. There are other people who say, listen, I need my day-to-day, got to take the family around, sustainability. As you look at the sustainability factor in 2025, how do you measure it?
Well, we're looking at more and more cars that use electricity as part of how they propel the car. For example, any car that gets great gas mileage or that burns less gas is actually better for the environment. That's why hybrids come along. They do use gasoline, but they don't use as much gasoline as a car that runs only on gasoline. So many hybrids, the ones that aren't plug-in, they make their own electricity. As you drive, it makes its own electricity. And then when you get to a slow point in the parking lot or a slow point in traffic, it uses electricity only to kind of, weave through. So that's all part of making the air cleaner, but at the same time using the existing infrastructure.
Yeah. Talking about special things, I want to talk about female designers because that's being highlighted somewhat, and also some innovators. And so as you look and you see right now where we are in this 125th year, we weren't talking about female designers and innovators years past, but now we can actually sit, have a conversation, and bring some people to the table.
Yes, that's true. And the more diverse the population is who's designing and building the cars, the more people's needs that can suit. Because the truth is, if everybody who is from the same class, let's say, is doing those jobs, you can't always create something that might be beneficial for somebody outside of your immediate area. So that only makes cars more unique, more accessible, and more importantly, it makes them innovative in a way that maybe we wouldn't thought of before. Even little things like color choices can make a big difference. Think about when the last time you had a neighbor that bought a new car, probably one of the first things you asked was, oh, what color did you get? Little things like color palette and designing those things can add to a big time success for a car, even when the person who designed it might not be someone that you know or know of.
Yeah. So as you're walking around, tell me, what is catching your eye? What are you saying, Daren? You got to check this out.
Yeah, there's a couple things. First, there's a vintage Volkswagen bus in the Volkswagen booth, like an old minibus, that kind of thing. That's really cool. Also, there's an Audi RS6 Avant GT, and what that basically is all-wheel drive, turbocharged, V8 powered, 621 horsepower station wagon. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool and pretty interesting to check out. And as you look to this year, years past, we know that things have been, we've seen a little decrease. But so far, what are we getting as far as anticipation and crowds? Your perspective.
Yeah, a lot of people. Actually, I would say that for this particular show, there's more people than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. It opens to the public on Friday. We'll see what happens when the public comes. But so far, just the interest and the number of new vehicle debuts. Because remember, that's what gets people down here. Seeing a car that they might never have had a chance to see before. And that could be from Volvo, that could be from Maserati, that could be from a number of different automakers. And that's the thing that will make the show have a high traffic population. A lot of people coming from outside the city too.
Brian Holman Spot, I'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. I'll do that.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Brian Moody, executive editor of Autotrader, thank you for joining us here. Now, listen, for
Thank
more
you.
information, visit the website at kia.com. We encourage you to don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more coming up here on Open right after this.
We're gonna start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at BronxNet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express Thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
And welcome back. Black Man, White Industry is a story about the life of a young black man who entered the textile industry in 1975 straight out of high school, built a career defying all odds. Our next guest not only broke barriers, but became an influential figure in the menswear business, working with top designers and navigating race relations with a remarkable perspective. Joining me now is the author of Black Man, White Industry, Don Martin. Don, good to have you, bro.
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, I think we did it up together, right? Right. Did you get the memo? I don't know. I guess I'm doing all right if I'm looking like you. How you doing?
I can't complain.
Thank you for coming with us.
Thank you for having me here.
I want to get an opportunity to get into this here. Black man, white industry. You're a black man, of course.
That's correct.
In a white industry.
That's correct.
That traditionally does not see many.
Correct.
In your place in space.
Correct.
But for you, being able to successfully navigate it, now you tell the story.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the, first of all, the experience.
Well, I would say that, when you start off very young, I was just a kid out of high school and got a job downtown and on 25th Street. the assistant to the assistant shipping guy. Yeah, basically just, loading trucks, in the freezing cold of big bolts of fabrics and all that kind of thing. And that's how I started in the industry. And I really liked it a lot. You know what I mean? I wasn't a guy that was very handy. I'm actually I'm terrible with my hands, being honest. You know what I mean? So, but I was always a pretty good personality, a good talker, that kind of guy. So, I actually got fired my first job. I deserve to get fired, being honest, And then I got another job uptown in textiles, in menswear, and my career accelerated from there, which my book tells.
Yeah. So you get into men's tailored clothing, right?
Well, I was actually selling the fabric,
right,
the textiles, to manufacture like men's tailored suits, jackets, pants. It's like what we have on right now.
And to get there, right, is a huge leap because we don't see, as we said, many people in that place and space. But for you, you encountered some things. You had to navigate through some things. Talk to us a little bit about some of that.
Well, I think that when I first entered the business in menswear in 1290 Avenue of Americas, which is the capital of menswear, and I didn't really know that at the time. I was just a kid, I didn't know, and I was working in the stock room, and I was working very hard, and some things happened where some of the salespeople changed and went to other corporations during this particular time of the selling season. So I was pushed into a situation where I was elevated to the showroom at a very young age. It happened by accident, being honest. And after I was in there in the showroom, I got to meet some of the people, some of the clients, all the famous designers back then of yesteryear. Polo Ralph Lauren. I can go on and on. Christian Dior, Tommy Hilfiger. I can go on and on to all the major names. Were purchasing fabrics in large volume from this company that I was actually employed by. And I accelerated from there, and I was going through, remember this is the 70s, and back then in textiles particularly, textiles is not an industry that's known by most white folk, much less black, or what's involved in it, and the intricacies of textiles. People know about the actual finished garment.
Right.
But how do you come up with the garment? You got to weave the fabric. You got to dye the yarn. You got to get the raw material and all these things. And at that time, the import business was actually very, very big. People importing fabrics from all over the world. And they had textile designers who designed the fabrics and the yarn. And I worked with them in the design room and that kind of things. And I got good at it. And my personality and who I was, I propelled myself into being a pretty top seller, at a very young age.
Going behind the scenes, when we look at the menswear business, there's a hidden side to it. You take us a little bit into that in the book without giving it all away. But share with us a little bit about that hidden side that really caught you off guard, that you're able to look back and say, wow, that was an experience.
Well, I would say that I'm going to name one that's really, really interesting. I was just a young black man, and I didn't really know that racism existed among white people. I didn't understand that. Being in the men's retail industry, you had the Jewish-dominated section of the industry, and then you had what they call the WASPy section, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant section of the business. And both these two sectors, okay, believe it or not, had a bit of a against each other. And I didn't know, white people, I didn't know that there was a difference, you know what I mean? So after I got to realize and understand that, both parties would actually try to bring me to their side. You know what I mean? In that regard, I was in the middle. So after I kind of got to know that, I kind of used that to my advantage as the years went on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being able to fit in a space like that, right? Because sometimes when you're the only, or there's small representation, it's a hard thing to work on a day-to-day basis. But yet for you to be able to parlay that into your full career, and then at the same time, be tremendously successful at it. What's the message that you give to people who have similar experiences or may encounter that experience?
I would say in America, as we know that there's like 14% of African American people that represents the population. So we as a people are always are in a situation where we're either the only one or one or two in most boardrooms, almost whatever, executive levels. This is just a fact. Me, I think that the most important thing for me is I learned confidence at a very young age. And I got to be honest, I was very cocky. I was. You know what I mean? So, and that's part of it. But I was always a person that's very confident and always believed in who I am and what I am. And you know what? We sometimes as black people, sometimes we get into situations and we're clowned. And, by our white counterparts. And you know what? I never allowed that. You're not going to clown me in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to be who I am, what I am, regardless of what it might be. And by me doing that, I became an erect personality that people knew who I was, and I gained a reputation. Don's a great guy. He's what he is, but he's not going to. He does not tolerate any kind of racial kind of things that would be said or written or said about him. So that's what I did.
And I got to say, you give props to the Bronx because the Bronx is a part of your early fabric in your makeup.
Speak about that.
Yeah.
Let me speak about that, my brother.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm from the Boogie Down. I'm from the BX and very proud of it. I was born in Harlem. I raised here. We moved here at 5 years old. My parents were just very hardworking people. My father was a custodial worker at Columbia University. My mother worked in a nursing home. We grew up in a row house on 221st Street. Played every sport imaginable, you name it.
Right.
Stickball, skellies, this, whatever.
Scully? Nobody knows about that.
Nobody knows about skellies?
I know about Scully.
You know about skellies? So I have a wonderful upbringing and memories of the Bronx and love the Bronx. Yeah. I really do.
Well, I want to congratulate you. And for people who want to get the book, get in touch, how do they do that?
Well, they can, my book is available on Amazon, blackmanwriteindustry.com. My journey through the men's fashion world. I've done, since my book came out about two years ago now, I've had so much experiences. I've got to meet Ben Crump. I've got to meet Andrew Young. I've got to meet so many different people. And I've been invited, I've spoken at universities. I've done so many things. And it's been really a very, very great experience for me. Yeah. And the book is available on Amazon. It's a great book. My audio book is now just out, written in my spoken in my words.
Right.
I've just started a podcast, which is called Unity with Don Martin. And Unity with Don Martin is a positive story about black and white. Right. Because in my experience, in my book, which chronicles, I speak the truth. But I have a very, very great relationship with white businessmen and us being together because I believe in humanity. I believe that we're all human beings, and that's why I always led with.
Well, definitely a pleasure, to honor having you here. Don Martin, the author.
Thank you,
Black
sir.
Man,
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank
stay
you.
right there.
Thank you.
Listen, now, if you want more information, encourage you. Go visit them on the website, blackmanwhiteindustry.com. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. .5% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. .34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
We're gonna start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at BronxNet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at BronxNet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express Thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit BronxNet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
And we are back. Millions of Americans suffer from migraine disease, but now an innovative and drug-free treatment option is making it easier for people to access the care they need without the side effects of traditional medication. Joining me now to discuss this is neurologist and migraine specialist, Dr. Aliya Frederick, along with patient advocate Sarah Aaronion. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll start off with the doctor first. Doctor, I want to go ahead and ask Dr. Frederick, when we talk about chronic migraines, so many people are dealing with this on a daily basis, but yet still there's breakthroughs and there's some help available.
Yes, well, what people should know that some patients require drug-free treatment options, and there really are significant benefits related to those treatments. Many patients and families actually seek drug-free options because they do have concerns about systemic side effects related to prescription medications, or they simply do not want to take a medication. And we do see low adherence to daily preventive medications due to these concerns. So the Nerivio Ren wearable is actually the only drug-free treatment option that's available for both prevention and acute treatment in individuals as young as 8 years old. So it's really changing the landscape of migraine treatment. And we know that effective treatment is really critical for reducing long-term disability related to migraine.
Yeah. And when we talk about traditional treatments, the effect on everyday life, give us a walkthrough.
Well, I will send this over to Sarah as a patient, as an individual suffering with migraine disorder. So I'll let her take that.
Yeah, I should have bought it. And I'm sorry, Sarah, go right ahead.
Oh, not a problem. It's a huge impact. You're constantly worrying about getting a migraine while you're at work, going to school, being with friends, just classic social activities. And like Dr. Frederick had mentioned about the side effects of medication, you're usually really drowsy or confused, and that's not good for any type of situation. So I also was worried about other conditions that I have that I take medication for. I didn't want any interactions. And I felt really like I had to choose between having a migraine and being functional.
Right. And for 17 years, you really navigated through this. And what was the turning point for you?
When I really was taking a lot of days off from work and I was realizing I wasn't present when I was with my friends or my family because I was always worrying about, is something going to trigger my migraine? Am I going to have to bring my medication? What if I am out of it? So it really, that was kind of a turning point of where I sat there and said, is there another option, that's drug-free? And I found the Nerivio Ren wearable.
Right. And Dr. Frederick, bringing you back in now, when we hear stories such as Sarah's, I mean, we know that drug-free treatment does improve a daily routine.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important for both patients and healthcare providers to really be advocates for getting this to be available for themselves or for their patients. As a healthcare provider, I am able to advocate for Nerivio Ren wearable by sharing patient efficacy data and patient stories with insurance companies to help advance coverage. And patients are also able to write letters and make phone calls and share those stories with both the insurance companies and with their providers. And that helps to go a long way as far as advancing coverage. And, we have seen some success. There is good news that some people are getting access to Nerivio Ren wearable. There's been announcements that some insurances actually are providing coverage, which is great news. We do have some momentum there, but we need to keep going, and we have more work to do.
Yeah. We talk about Sarah being a patient advocate. Talk to me a little bit more, Sarah, because, as one who's dealt for 17 years, now you're a patient advocate trying to make sure that people are aware. What's the message that you're sending?
The message that I'm sending is there are other options out there that are drug-free that can help you feel a little bit more free and more confident, because that's what happens with me, is that I am not necessarily really worried about having a migraine while I'm out doing everyday things. At first, I had to pay out of pocket for Nerivio, and it really started becoming a financial burden. So I had to advocate for myself. I had to call and call and call and call. And finally now today, my insurance actually covers Nerivio.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We got to leave it there, but Dr. Frederick, Sarah, thank you so much for being with us. And, as the word gets out, I should say, people become more and more aware and know about the options that are out there, and good to have advocates out there speaking on that behalf too. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Absolutely. And we want people to know that they can visit us online at nerviriocover.com. They can find more information about the treatment there and also resources to help them advocate for coverage as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. She kind of stole my thunder there, but I'm going to go right back and tell you that if you want more information, yes, go ahead and visit that website.
Please reshare it. Please tell them again.
It's so nice. We got to do it twice. That's it. Visit the website, nerviriocover.com, and get all the information that you need to find out about these options that are available. Well, we come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, most of all you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch Recablecast right here on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files, that'd be Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can watch a brand new episode of Open with my girl Rita Valentine on Friday. Miss Cafe con Leche, she'll tell you. And that wraps up this episode. I am Daren Jaime saying make sure to keep this channel wide open. We say take care and God bless.